Hey YouTube, it's Jamie, smoking in my car. Smoking my Masonic Meerschaum. That was a gift from my work friends. Pretty nice pipe. It's got a bit of a whistle if I pack it a certain way. Well, if I pack it a certain way, I can get rid of the whistle. Hear that? Anyway, I've got pretty much the last of a sample of McBaron's Stockton. McBaron's Stockton in here that Israel SoCal Piper gave me. This is the last of it. It's really interesting blend. I like it. It's kind of a curly cut with let me show it to you. Well, this is just the last of it. You can't really see. It must have been some sort of rope or twist that's cut into sort of medallions. The way that it's all braided together was really beautiful looking. It's beautiful looking tobacco. There's an interesting topping. I don't know what it is, but it's maybe brown sugar. Maybe a brown sugar topping. You get it when you sip. I don't sip very much. I usually guzzle smoke. But when you sip, and on the retrohale, yeah, take little sips and you get, I think that I've been getting the most out of this particular tobacco, just giving it little sips. Plus it burns hot for me. This has been burning hot. It's mechanically, it didn't take the flame as readily as, you know, some other like ribbon cuts and things like that, but stays lit, he said as his pipe went out. Has been staying lit. So it's delicious though. I want to say brown sugar. I'm gonna have to look it up on tobacco reviews. See what Jim Inks has to say about it. You ever notice you get on tobacco reviews and the first review is always by Jim Inks? He must have done thousands of reviews. I know, well, I don't know Jim Inks, but he and I are on a message board, Pipe Smokers Den. And we've communicated a little bit here and there through that message board, but he's the Jim Inks from all those reviews. I have a little story. So it's about music stuff. So about 20 years ago, we were living in West Los Angeles. We were like right around near Venice, Culver City, not far from Santa Monica, an area called Palms. Anyway, we used to go, or I used to go to a friend of mine in the Echo Park neighborhood, which is more like central Los Angeles. And I'd go there on Saturdays to participate in this radio show that he had in his basement. Yeah. So it was like an avant-garde noise radio show that he was doing in his basement in Echo Park. And we would literally just make noise. And it was broadcast on like regular bandwidth radio in a couple cities in Canada, and like some sort of other kind of, I don't know, pirate radio stuff. He was hooked up with all these people who were like visual artists, but that also made like sound collage stuff. Anyway, I would go over there. The name of the show, they still do it. The name of the show is called Mannlicher Carcano. Mannlicher Carcano is the manufacturer of Lee Harvey Oswald's rifle. So that's how they got the name, Mannlicher Carcano Radio Show. Anyway, so, and the guy who put it on was the art critic from the LA Weekly. His name was Doug Harvey. I used to talk to him once in a while still. Doug Harvey. Anyway, I went over there and Doug had just picked up a new compact disc from a record label called Sublime Frequencies. And this CD was called Radio Phnom Penh. Phnom Penh is in Cambodia. It's, I think, the biggest city in Cambodia. Yeah, sure, it's the biggest city in Cambodia. My wife and I went there some years ago. But what they did, the guys from Sublime Frequencies, is they would travel to these places and they would record like street sounds, folk sounds, like music stuff, radio captures, like capturing stuff from whatever was on local radio and like shortwave radio and all kinds of sounds and music. It was primarily music, but also ambient sounds. So, and they would make these sound collages, these sometimes noiseescapes, sometimes like musical compilations, things like that, street performers, recorded music, etc. And they would put out these compilations called, like Radio Phnom Penh, which is what Doug played for me that day 20 years ago or whatever. Anyway, I got a copy of that from him. And since I have collected many of their titles, like this one is Radio Morocco that I got years and years ago. Radio Morocco, Radio Java, it's like, just these sound collages of music and whatever. But as it turns out, after Doug, there we go. As it turns out, some years after that, so about maybe 10 years ago, eight years ago maybe, I'm playing with this guy named Eddie Detroit here in Phoenix, and he ends up putting out a record with Acetone Records. And Acetone, isn't that a funny name? Acetone Records. They're a subsidiary of Sublime Frequencies, the people who put out these Radio Phnom Penh, Radio Java, etc. So then we end up I do a European tour with Eddie, Western Europe. We played all over the place in Western Europe. And I was backing him up. I was playing guitar in his band. And who's organizing the tour and traveling with us but Hisham Mayet. And Hisham Mayet is one of the guys who started Sublime Frequencies. I ended up getting to spend a whole bunch of time with this guy whose work I really admired, and now we're great friends. I talk to him once in a while. And then the other owner of Sublime Frequencies was in a band called Sun City Girls, another Phoenician band, and he's a friend. He has become a friend as well, and records at my house once in a while. Anyway, it was cool. I was listening to those Sublime Frequencies CDs in my car, and I was thinking about what a tangled web we weave. I was just played this stuff from Doug Harvey. I really fell in love with the catalog and the collection and the whole concept. And then all of a sudden, a couple years later, I'm hanging out with these guys who are the the label impresarios, you know, and you know, doing this tour with Hisham and stuff like that. It was just a cool turn of events. So obscure, such an obscure little slice to have made, you know, to have made a connection like that. It's weird how things work out. There's a lot more to that story, but I got to wrangle with this. I'll talk to you later.